We're live, and today we're talking Giallo. Giallo, you often see the killer wearing, hey Corey, exactly what was wearing right there. It is a black coat. Hey Javit, gotta get my glass on so I can see. The black gloves, courtesy of Sevron Films and their black glove package, by the way. So shout out to Sevron for putting out that incredible package. And the infamous ski mask, the mask that the only thing I didn't have was a hat. Hey, and ready. So here I am, wearing my All the Colors of the Dark shirt, which is Sergio Martino. So tonight we're talking Giallo. And I sat down last night and I watched the excellent Severin package called All the Colors of Giallo. I watched the documentary. I followed that up with the interview, the featurette interview that they had there from the guy from the Giallo papers, and I also watched Kate Ellinger's incredible commentary on Giallothon. So, which led me to believe I would definitely like to have a beer with Kate Ellinger because she is really, really good, and she shares a lot of my opinions. I'm guessing if you're coming into this, you either want to start collecting Giallo or you're collecting and you just want to get a different take on it. Giallo was one of the first things that interested me. Hey, Chet, in movies altogether. Movies like Black Christmas have a strong Giallo feel to them. Actually, if you're somebody that collects slasher films, for instance, and you've never really gotten into the Italian side of it, never really gotten into Giallo, got the bubbly back, then there wouldn't be slasher films without Giallo. Giallo is often is a much gorier, sometimes sleazier, but not always, version of like the slasher film. The slasher film, there's differences between the slasher film and the Giallo. Giallo films primarily are, but not always, Italian. You can get a Giallo film that was done in Spain, for instance. There is one that we're going to talk about. That's a Spanish Giallo film. You're watching Bay of Blood as we speak, right on. Bay of Blood is very influential, especially in the body count films. Mario Bava started the body count films back with Blood and Black Lace. But the Bay of Blood one was particularly influential in, well, Friday the 13th and Friday the 13th Part 2. Just watch the kills in both of those films and you'll kind of get the idea of where some of it came from. There's even certain musical cues that John Carpenter uses that were around before John Carpenter. So, not to take anything away from John Carpenter's musical ability, but I do think he was influenced just a mite by some of the scores that came out from Giallo films that came out before that. So to start off, usually when people talk about the first Giallo that was ever made, they're talking about one that I'm going to get into, which is The Girl Who Knew Too Much. That was put out by Arrow Video. If you don't have that one, I do recommend it. It's Bava's first Giallo film, and ironically enough, although Giallo is rooted in like it's Giallo, it means the color yellow in Italian, and it's based off those pulp like crime books, those Edgar Wallace, Agatha Christie books that used to come out, the Mondori ones that used to come out in Italy at the time, that have like the yellow covers and have like a circular picture, kind of like giving you an idea of the illicit crimes on the inside of it. The first Giallo film is in black and white. And even before that, the German crime films of the time that were called the Krimi films, were highly influential to what the Giallos would become. And if you look at a lot of the people that made Giallos, you'll hear them talk about the fact that they were highly influenced not just by those pulp novels, but they were influenced by the film noirs of their day. So there's a connection between film noir, Krimi, Giallo, and the later coming slasher films. All of these kind of influence one another. That's the way movies work. So right off the bat, if you're starting to collect Giallo and you don't mind spoilers, then I strongly recommend that you pick this up. This is the All the Colors of Giallo. Now, the one I got here is a bit of a bonus. This one came out on Black Friday, and it deals with, like, I'll take it out. I'll show you. So you get an hour and a half documentary on the Giallo genre here. We're going to look at a lot of Giallos. I took out like a bunch of my Giallos here to show you guys, because there's definitely a lot of stuff to look at. But if this is your primer, this is your go-to to get the start into it. There's a documentary that's going to go even deeper. I'm going to show you that one in a minute. But this has an hour and a half long documentary. It has over 4 hours actually of trailers. You can watch them just as they are, or you can watch them with Kat Ellinger's commentary, which is what I recommend watching it as, at least the first time. The Giallo Frames interviews John Merton of Giallo Pages. A good interview. He does, like me sometimes, in his he does tend to mess up a couple of the names of the films, but I think basically that's because just the way that it was done, it was shot. This too does deal with the creamy stuff. Hey, B-Movie Archives, we're talking Giallo tonight. We also have an interview with film historian Marcus Stegleger. Hope I got that right. And the third disc, this is really cool. Giallo, like, is can be made or broken based on on the soundtrack, on the score of the film. And this one here actually has a CD, The Strange Sounds of the Bloodstained Films. So if you don't have this B-Movie Archives, I strongly recommend it. Welcome, DVD Kiwi. What came with my edition of this, and I'll get into this one in a little bit, is another film which stars one of the premier Giallo girls. Oh, this is Severin. Yeah, I definitely recommend this B-Movie Archives. If you don't have it, you love Giallos, definitely pick this up. I'm actually wearing the shirt that you can get from Severin Films, All the Colors of the Dark film, which might be, after going over all Martino's films, which I did last night before I watched this, this might be my favorite Martino. But we'll get into that in a little bit. The other one, documentary-wise, that I do recommend now, hey, Cassandra Blade, is this one right here. Now, this one is out on a regular edition. You don't have to buy the steelbook, as I don't know if it's still available, or I know it's really expensive, but you can get the regular edition. And it does include the documentary as well. And this is Synapse's version of Tenebrae, Dario Argento's groundbreaking Giallo film Tenebrae. If you have not seen this movie, this is a must. It has a fantastic score. It has probably one of the best antagonists of any Giallo film, with Peter Neal. And the documentary on here is freaking awesome. It really is. Now, there's some people kind of wonder, do I need one? What's my favorite Giallo? I'll get into that, actually. Tenebrae is definitely one of my favorites. So, do you need one documentary if you got the other documentary? And I would say yes. They're very differently done documentaries. This one is more well edited and put together in a specific way. You can tell it's definitely more glossy and deals more in spoilers. This one here is completely in Italian with subtitles. Please don't let that bother you, because they get to talk to people that you don't normally see spoken with on a lot of other documentaries. That's a really big bonus for this one right here. You're going to get to see and hear from people that you haven't heard from on other documentaries that you've been watching. Tenebrae is one of the greatest soundtracks for me, Javid, of all time. I gotta say that is definitely one of the highlights of that makes the film. The film can be made it's a great film, but take the soundtrack. Just watch Halloween with the soundtrack. All the Colors of Giallo. These are both, these both belong together. You need both of the documentaries. Definitely a strong. Goblin do great tracks. You get now early on, we often remember Giallo nowadays for Edwidge Finch, people like Dagmar Lysander. We got God, there's so many of them. But early on, a lot of the early Giallos, the ones that were kind of produced by Luciano Martino were often starred Carol Baker. She was like a bigger star over in the U.S. and she came over to Italy, and she made some more of these high-end giallos. The early giallo influences were not the kind of sex-crazed killers. I know I never got that. I never got the subtitles bothering people. This is one I think, even if it does, please pick it up because you're going to hear from people that you haven't heard from on any other documentary. And that's a big bonus right there. So you're going to hear stories and hear things that you haven't heard before. That's always a great thing. In my opinion, I do recommend, if you're into the reading of giallos as well, Troy Haworth put out 2 fantastic books on giallo, So Sweet, So Perverse. Bay of Blood. Respect for Mary Bava. I love Bay of Blood. I'm not sure it's my favorite giallo because it almost seems like a proto giallo. Then you're going to like this video DVD Kiwi because I'm going to get into quite a few here. I'll get into a few directors as well. And the thing I'm going to tell you guys right now is I was really blown away by the response that I got from last night's video. I want to thank you all for that right now. So I do plan to do a guide for some different things from different genres, different companies, and different directors as well. So I hope you guys will like that. Oh yeah, that's the thing. A lot of giallos, Javid, do have English actors in them, and people like Carol Baker, David Hemmings. Though she didn't do so much in the giallo genre, there was Barbara Steele. The thing is that they wanted to have like an actor that they could actually say, okay, we can sell this into internationally. Look at probably the most famous, the one that made giallos famous. Like people talk about Bay of Blood and they talk about some fantastic bad ones, but Pieces is a giallo. You can't like just say giallo. Basically, it's got to be totally Italy. Pieces is still falls in the giallo genre. I would say that not so much, not really schizoid, but I would say definitely a couple of John Saxon. John Saxon was in the very first one. He was in the Girl Who Knew Too Much. But I would say a few of Pete Walker's films, a couple of Pete Walker's films would be considered giallo. Now there is a differentiating between giallo and slasher. I don't consider them like completely the same. Giallos will sometimes go into like fantastical territory, but by far and large, when you're thinking of a giallo, you're looking at you want the black gloved killer usually, and there's got to be a mystery to it. But even if it's kind of supernatural, there's clues along the way that should guide you, that if you went back and you watched the film, you rewatched the film, you should be able to figure out, okay, there's where I should have known who the killer was. Movies like Don't Torture Duckling do it. Every Argento film does it. He's very sneaky with the way he does it. Trauma, although it's a very untalked about giallo, and I don't have it in my collection, sadly, has a very fun way of doing the killer reveal, which I picked up on right away when I watched the film. But I thought it was a blast that Argento went in that direction. So let's just look at some giallos here. I'm not going to do them in kind of chronological order, or Michael Brandon, yeah. But I'm just going to show some giallos. Now I'm going to be talking a lot about this company here. I'll show it right now. And this is I got to make sure there's nothing there. Is Shameless. Hey Andy, is Shameless Screen Entertainment. Now they do a lot of stuff. The Birth of Crystal Plumage is one you really need to see B Movie Archives, because that's the one that made giallo popular. That's the film that actually made it famous in the first place. It's a fantastic little giallo film, and it was the first one done by Argento. Now, when Argento did it, and they showed it to the producer of the film, him and his dad showed it to him. He hated it. He hated the film. He locked himself in a room. Said he didn't want to talk to them. Went on vacation on business vacation. Didn't want to be around when Birth of Crystal Plumage came out. Shameless does great stuff. And when Birth of Crystal Plumage got into the theater, went into the first theater, it bombed. And went into its second big theater, it also bombed. Argento's dad pretty much said, no, we're going to do it in a couple smaller theaters. We're going to go, go to Naples, go to areas like that. And when they did, it was a hit. It was a huge hit. It went to packed houses, and then at the next town went to packed houses, and then word of mouth got around, and those big areas that it had bombed in before, it was now packing the houses. It was now doing really, really well. Bird of the Crystal Plumage became an international success, and Argento was ready to, he was pretty much told to make another Giallo right away. You didn't like Phenomenon? I do like Phenomenon. I do think it's one that you had to look back on, though, because Phenomenon tends to be one that's that some people go into expecting something different. But I'll get into that. So I'm just going to go through a few different Giallos, and I'm not going to go in a particular order. But these are ones that I do think that should be in everybody's collection. They're working on some stuff, actually. I've heard that recently they're working on some stuff. So first off, I guess what we'll do is we'll go through the shameless Giallos. That's a good way to start, because their stuff, it doesn't always have to be the big stuff, but they will always have their kind of what I consider some benchmarks that not a lot of people talk about. So I don't have the Case of the Scorpion's Tail, which is Martino's very first Giallo. I wish I did. That's a missing one from my collection. Anything Sergio Martino, guys. Sergio Martino was the director. He directed a lot of other genres, but he became very popular for the Giallos that he did. They were produced by his brother Luciano Martino, and often starred Luciano's girlfriend, Edwidge Fenech, in the films as well. So you're going to hear his name a bit. You're going to hear names like probably Ercole. I think I got some Ercole here. Argento, Bava, people like that. Those are some of the names that you're going to hear. That being said, due to the fact that this is not, if you're watching this right now, this is not a tape video. This is not this is interactive. Anytime you have questions about directors, actors, any of the films that I'm going to show here, Demons is it's not Giallo, but it is a fantastic film. I got you into Giallo. I hope that's a good thing. I really hope that's a good thing, because it is my favorite. Giallo and slasher, Giallo genre and the slasher genre are definitely my two favorite genres. Now, people will call Giallo like that. The plural of that, as Chet just said, is Gialli. Just so we know going through, so we can seem sometimes a little bit smarter than some of our friends. Killer Nun's not really Giallo. I actually put that one over here by mistake. So we'll get into this now. So here's some really interesting ones. Neither is Venus and Furs. I wouldn't really consider it. I took a few of my Shameless, and I realized I took some that weren't Giallo. Because although Shameless does a lot of Giallo films, he also do some Italian exploitation, kind of like thrillers that don't really consider Giallo and stuff like that. So first up I got here is one of the classics, the benchmarks, and this one is kind of a cross between Giallo and slasher, much like Curtains. The Canadian film Curtains would be considered a cross between a Giallo film and a slasher film. This is Torso. Now Torso is a very infamous, a very well-known film. This is Sergio Martino. This is one of the directors that we're going to talk about. This one here has one of the Giallo queens is Susie Kendall. She's one of the ladies known for doing this style of film, and Torso kind of really did well. This was a huge hit. It was bloody. It was violent. It was a good mystery. It had a good mystery to it. It's really cool how they make these cases here look like pulp covers. Now that being said, I have to be very careful with these here. Shameless does tend to put some nudity on there. Fast Times is a fantastic film. Haven't seen it? Definitely it's worth checking out. I mean, this is a really good film. There are some great versions of Torso out there. I'll show you a couple more. You ever heard the Giallo genre? Well, we all got to start somewhere. There were times when I also didn't hear the Giallo genre. Now, next up is one done, and this was done by Enzo, right? Enzo Milano, and this one here is the Sister of Ursula. Now, this would be what you would consider along the lines of one of your more, your sleazer Giallos. definitely recommend it. Yeah, if you're gonna get Torso, I want all the Shameless releases, but I will also buy Torso on Arrow as well because it is that good of a film. You can double dip on it. Sister of Ursula, a great Giallo. I think Ray Lovelock is in this one actually, because I know Barbara Magnolfi is in it. Maybe it's not Ray Lovelock. No, it's Mark Perel. That's what I was thinking of. What's thinking Ray Lovelock? They work together, I think. So basically, Sister of Ursula, recommend this one. Great film, very sleazy. Don't watch it around any younger people or your parents because yeah, it's not gonna. We're gonna put this one over here for now. You're watching Giallos before you knew they were Giallos. That's the thing, right? You just thought they were really cool films with lots of nudity and violence. Another actor you see them is David Warbeck, who's in a few of them, and this is Formula for a Murder. Also, you just consider them slashers. Some people did actually, and I probably the same too. Oh, shit! I would not even. There are hundreds of Giallos out there. There's a lot. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you some of the must-owns. What's really neat about this one is this was a special edition one. And often, like those slasher films, probably had bigger budgets. It's just the way that they were shot and filmed, B-Movie Archives, that made it seem like it had a bigger budget. It depends on the transfer, actually. I do like. I've never like had any problems with Shameless transfers. I know they're not going to be as impeccable as the transfer like from an Arrow Video or something like that, but for what they work with, they do an amazing job. What's really cool about this one is the killer wears this like yellow rain slicker. It's called a Mac, right, over in England. It comes with one, so I don't know where I got it put now, but this here actually stuck on the back of it originally was this yellow rain slicker with Shameless written on it. So I think if you pick this up now, you can still actually get that. If you like those kind of gimmicky things like I do, I'm a real big fan of that stuff. You can still get this with the yellow Mac. Look on Amazon or just go to Shameless themselves and see if you can find the Mac version of this one. I definitely recommend it. And we're not talking about like the yellow rain slickers that they use. All right. Thomas Millian, known for both Giallo and westerns. Thomas Millian did a lot of work with Giallo. He worked with Edwidge Fenech a bit too. Exactly like the Buy From It. You can actually wear the costume with the Shameless on it and everything. Designated Victim is pretty much, this is kind of their an Italian version really of Strangers on a Train. But you won't have the Shameless logo on it. You want the one with the Shameless logo, I guess. So this is pretty much like kind of a different, like unique version of Strangers on a Train. There's definitely differences in there. It stars Thomas Millian, and he is fantastic in this film. Thomas Millian is fantastic in everything he's in. We're going to look at one here that he did that's really, really good. Now this is part of the trilogy that was done by Massimo Dellamano's film trilogy. This is What Have They Done to Your Daughters. You can also see like in this one here, much like in the film Night School, the killer wears that. I hope that's a good thing. Wears like as opposed to wearing like the ski mask that I wore at the beginning of the video. If you guys didn't see that, definitely go back to the beginning of the video because I am decked out in all Giallo gear. Hey, Livens. Yeah, they're so, and some of their stuff, like obviously if you know their films, then you know I can't show you the back of the boxes because it's filled with nudity. Yeah, the back of their Shameless boxes are filled. If there's a nude scene, if there's one nude scene in a film, stills from that nude scene will be on the back of a Shameless video. Oh, Javed. Yeah, it is. Trust me. Yeah, it really is. Vincent won't go with like the nudity and stuff on the cover. They will go really, really blatant on the cover. This is a fantastic film, What They've Done to Your Daughters. This one actually uses something that a lot of Giallos don't use. Giallos usually have much like the Agatha Christie like stories or the Edgar Wallace stories. Giallos usually use amateur detectives, and they really stay away from using like a police in the films. Police are usually incompetent. This actually does right on Andy does use police officers in the films. Same with the other two, which there's What Have They Done to Your Daughters, and what just was mentioned there, What Have You Done to Solange, which I'm going to show you in a minute. And God, what's the third one? There's three of them. When you guys can look it up for me, because I know I'm going to probably come across it. Next up, again, this is one by Bruno Nicolai. Another name known for this stuff, starred George Hilton. George Hilton, you're going to notice that a lot of the names that I'm going to mention, like Thomas Millian and George Hilton, a lot of those guys, oh no, but they just do sleazier. They just, like, their presentation is sleazier. That's not like a knock on it. That's actually a plus. Now, many of the names we're going to talk about, like Thomas Millian and George Hilton, guys like that, those are all guys that you're going to see, like names you're going to see come up in a lot of spaghetti westerns as well. A lot of these actors would act in spaghetti westerns, and some of them would act in the Poliziatsky films as well, like Ray Lovelock, who I just mentioned, who was in Live Like a Cop, Die Like a Man. But there's My Dear Killer by Bruno Nicolai. Again, you'll notice that in a lot of Giallo films, they'll have like really kind of cool, unique weapons that they use for the kills. The killers are usually very inventive. Yes, yes, John, yes, I did, and I'm holding Shameless in my hands, so you know I did. You came at the right time, and I can't show you the back of this one because, yep, we have major nudity. Thanks, Chad. I hope you get back. Now, I got a few more Shameless to show before we go on. Now, a lot of these Shameless ones, which I haven't been showing you because we're really just talking more about Giallo than we are in general than we are talking about Shameless as a company. Although Shameless does a great job with their Giallo stuff, a lot of these here have dual covers. So if you switch them around, for instance, there's a different art style on the other side. Now, one of these I will show that. Shameless Entertainment is a UK company. You can find them on Amazon, on amazon.co.uk, or you can find them under their brand new distributor, Arrow Video. Yeah, isn't that kind of like hypocritical that nudity's a no-no, but the violence on the back, on the front, the covers are okay? And that's a fact. I mean, like sadly, not so much over in Europe. It's completely different. But here in North America, nudity is a big no-no. But you can show all the violence you want. You can play Halo and you can watch that. But if a pair of boobs comes up, watch out. I would agree with you on that one. I wish they changed that as opposed to like for YouTube as well, as it is right now. Like us YouTubers have to censor the stuff that we put out there when we're doing it, to the best of our abilities for those reasons. You want to get that demonetization flag, now do you? The House with Laughing Windows is done by Pupi Avati. Again, Pupi Avati, a fantastic film. Some of these I'll talk about a lot. Other ones I just want you guys to go in and discover. I'm not lying. I really do. I think this is a fantastic film. My Dear Killer is a fantastic Giallo. A lot of these don't have Blu-ray releases that really should. Now the next one I'm going to show you has a very, very good release, which I do own as well, from Arrow Video. That is Lucio Fulci's Don't Torture a Duckling. As you can see, I have to use my fingers to like cleverly censor this one. She is completely naked on the front of this cover. If you've never seen Don't Torture a Duckling, it's one of the benchmark Giallos. When I say it's one that you should own, like there's a lot of these here I think that you should dive into. Don't Torture a Duckling, you have to own. Whether you're a fan of Giallos or mystery or thriller, Don't Torture a Duckling is an incredible film done by Lucio Fulci. People forget that Fulci, who went on to do like a lot of these, like people thought of him with Oh yeah, I'll get into the Arrow stuff as well. I got some of the Arrow stuff here too. I'm just going through the Shameless stuff first. I think they're an interesting company. The fact that they did focus highly on Giallos before any company like Arrow or any of them were really focusing on them. Shameless were doing them. We're doing them first. We got to give them credit for that. But Fulci is known for like his sleazy stuff and his bloody stuff and Zombie and the Gates of Hell trilogy and all that. But Fulci should be known. Friend of Balkan is the name you're going to hear a lot here. Is someone that, and Barbara Boucher as well. She's in that too. You got to watch it, Scolder. Let me know what you think. It's a fantastic Giallo. Fulci should be known more for his Giallos. What's really good about Fulci's Giallos is they're so different. When you watch an Argento Giallo, and then you watch another Argento Giallo, there's a formula. Argento's kind of has a comfort zone that he goes with, and it works for him, and it works really well. I have nothing against that. When you watch a Fulci Giallo, they tend to be very, very different. Don't Torture a Duckling, for instance, is set in a place where a lot of Giallos aren't set. It's set in more of a countryside area, in more of a town. If you watch a lot of Giallos, then you're going to see themes shift with Fulci. They really do shift, Corey. That's a fantastic thing to say. Well, congratulations on your over 100 subscribers, by the way. If I didn't say it before, I'm saying it now. And make sure you're subscribed to Corey. This Don't Torture Duckling works in like... It's a more personal one. So if you've ever lived in a small area, and I did, I used to live in a small area, that it hits you even harder. There are themes in that are controversial at the time, would still be controversial today. But it is an amazing, amazing film. Scalder, I really recommend that you check that out ASAP. When I say this is, I don't mean like it's an okay Giallo. It's a great film. Don't Torture Duckling is extremely well done. It has a great cast. I will not ruin the mystery or the spoiler. I won't spoil it. Please, if you've seen it, don't spoil the mystery behind the Don't Torture a Duckling, because it is a really good Giallo, and it deserves to be one of those that's discovered by anybody out there. And we'll get into more Fulci stuff down the road. Lizard in a Woman's Skin is a dreamlike Giallo. It's almost fantastical, and it's kind of like weird, hallucinogenic style. And we get like Don't Torture a Duckling, and it's reality, and it's grounded, and it's powerful, and it's not city set. It's set in a countryside, It's very different. It's one that I think everybody really needs to own. Is ducks like in New York Ripper? Actually, yeah, that's actually right here, the New York Ripper. I got a few copies of this one actually. He had a thing for Donald Duck, I think. We get to hear the Donald Duck type voice in New York Ripper. There's the duck that's an extremely important part of Don't Torture a Duckling. Definitely worth checking out. Now here's a guy that made a few different ones as well, and that's Lucio Bazzoni. Probably more famous for one I'm going to show later on, The Fifth Chord, which is actually coming out now from Arrow. I do recommend picking that one up. That's going to be a really good release. But another one that really deserves to get kind of looked at again is Footprints on the Moon. This is one of his earlier ones that he did. If you've never seen Footprints on the Moon, again, this is Florinda Balkan. So you're gonna get, if you love Florinda Balkan, you like Don't Torture a Duckling, check out Footprints on the Moon. This is her again in this one here. She does a great job in this film, and she's a go-to. Much like Edwidge Fenech or Susie Kendall, or in the early days, Carol Baker. Florinda Balkan is a name, when you see it, you're like, I'm there. I know I'm going to like this one. Now here I'm actually going to do the switch around. So Antonio Beto only made a couple of Giallos, but the ones that he made were really good. This one here is called The Cat's Victims. Love this cover, right? So, but most people don't know this as The Cat's Victims. Most people know this as Watch Me When I Kill. So there it is. That's Watch Me When I Kill. This was put out, I think, by another company. I'm going to put it over to the Watch Me When I Kill side. I've done Cat's Victims for a while. I'll keep on Cat's Victims. I really like this cover. Got a 6-hour private chat. And I wasn't even invited. Shameful, guys. Shameful. I don't think it lasts 6 hours. But yeah, most people will know this one under the Watch Me When I Kill. That's the neat thing about this company is they'll put the alternate like covers and titles and artwork. I just love this artwork. I think it looks... the Watch Me When I Kill looks a lot sleazier. This just is very... and it really suits the film, too. This is a really good film. Basically... Hey, Mark. Welcome, dude. And this one here, a girl... She's going to a pharmacy, or a chemist, I guess they call it over there. And it's late at night, and the pharmacist is being killed. Has been killed by the killer. So she goes to the door, and it's locked. The killer stops her from going in. But little does she know, she's come upon like a clue to a murder that's just happened. Kind of what you do see a lot in these style of films. Next up is a guy that gets unfairly rated like badly. I'm going to agree with Kat Ellinger on this one. I do that all the time when I'm watching stuff. I like write down things. So if I'm getting somebody else to write down stuff, I'm super stoked about that. I'm not joking. That actually is a big thing for me. So this one here has Irene Pappas in it and Ray Lovelock. It's a different. It's a home invasion style Giallo, and it's done by Umberto Lenzi. It's called Oasis of Fear. This one is actually really cool. I really do like this one. I'm a real big fan of Irene Pappas. She actually worked on a... oh God, what was it she worked on with... was it Fenech? She worked with one of the girls. Not sure it was Fenech or... No, it wasn't Fenech. It was one of the other ladies. Where basically she came with this... she had a boyfriend at the time. And this was a big, good-looking guy. And she kind of got a crush on the actor that was on the film. Now, he had a wife, and she decided she wanted that actor, so she dumped her boyfriend, and the other girl that acted with her on that film hooked up with her now ex-boyfriend, and she just stayed away and let the drama between Irene Pappas and the actor and his wife just happen. How do you Ice to Kill? Huh. Recommend this one. Great film, very different. And Umberto Lenzi gets a bad rap when it comes to a lot of this stuff. Umberto Lenzi is actually a really good director. He's like, you'll get always... I always got to recommend him. I froze up for a second now. This is definitely not the video I want to freeze up on. Giallo is my passion. Next up is one by Andrea Bianchi, who a lot of people know because he got Burial Ground. And Burial Ground is a weird little zombie film. If you don't have Burial Ground, Severin put it out. You should pick it up. It's really fun. It was also put up by 88 Films if you live in the UK. His films definitely do like highlight a lot of nudity. They do have the black glove killers, and they are weird. There's a fun weirdness in Andrea Bianchi's films that once you see one of his films, you kind of expect the weirdness. And you kind of like you kind of wait for the weird scenes to happen. And in Strip Nude for Your Killer, I wouldn't say they're erotic thrillers. There's offshoots. Erotic thrillers definitely like took a lot from Giallos. You have to remember Giallo was first, and not all Giallos are like erotica. Like later ones, like especially in the 70s, but the early 60s ones, especially the stuff that was done with Carol Baker and stuff, not a lot of those were. Yes, Jevin, you're exactly right. Film noir is my third. So, Strip Nude for Your Killer. Highly recommend this one. It's got a great cast in this one. This is Edwidge Fenech right there. She's got like shorter hair in this one than she normally has. A very cool cast. Very different. Edwidge Fenech, I think, worked with Rosabelle Neri in Top Sensation. I think it was Top Sensation. Another really good one put up by Shameless. That has like a coloring book with it. They got great gimmicks. Next up is one that I showed here last night, actually, because I was asked about it, and that is The Washing Machine by Gregorio Diodato. For the case alone, I'd recommend this one, but this is actually a really fun one. Really enjoy this film. I'm trying to think, like Diodato, I don't think he did a lot when it came to the Giallo genre, but I know this one here stands out for me. I guess Phantom of Death, really, with it's kind of Giallo. More Fantastico Giallo, but Phantom of Death would be a Giallo as well. Now, that being said, he also did Blu-rays. So they don't have as many Blu-rays as some other companies, so it's actually easy to get a collection of Shameless Blu-rays because there's only a few. Are you serious? I will rebuy that one, Sculder. Strip Nude for Your Killer with Anna Bianchi is great, so I will definitely rebuy that one. I won't get rid of that one. I'll keep them both because Shameless has a great collection, and honestly, a lot of the Shameless releases that I got, if you live over in the UK, for instance, when they go on sale, they're like £3, £4, that type of thing. That's really cheap. So you can actually get a really good Giallo collection for very inexpensively. And that can be a way to start. Now, New York Ripper, definitely, this is one I don't have to talk about this one much. This is Lucio Fulci. Fantastic little film. Now, you should know that certain versions, I'm not sure if the Shameless version is, they will tell you if there's been like any cuts in the film. So, because certain films are cut more in the UK than they are in other areas, for instance. So, Shameless had a couple movies that did have like slight cuts in them. If it's animal cruelty, good, cut that out. I totally agree. If it's other stuff, come on. But that being said, they do the best they can. Now, Four Flies and Grey Velvet. This is Argento. This is part. Yeah, I did. I got them off from FOP. FOP and Covent Gardens there, Javid. That's where I went. It was the first place I visited when I went to London, and they had this huge display of Shameless, and I'm like, I want them all, and I did pretty much get them all. I actually got a couple from my dad as well. So Four Flies and Grey Velvet. This is part of the Animal trilogy. When it comes to Argento, definitely was considered one of the masters of Giallo. I really like this film. Now, there's a mask that's worn on this film, like kind of like a very kind of wide-eyed, creepy little boy mask, which drove me crazy. Really bothered me. But if you haven't checked out Four Flies and Grey Velvet, for a long time this was a lost Argento classic. Highly recommend it. There is another one in the Animal trilogy, which I guess I should get into right now. We'll go right to there because I'm all through the Shameless stuff, and that is the Cat O' Nine Tails. Covent Gardens is a great store. If you're over in London, this is the way to go. If you're in London and you're Covent Gardens, FOP, the best store to shop for that type of stuff. If you're in Canada, Sarah, I do think there's a comment then. If you're in Canada and you're in Ontario, if you're in Toronto, get your butt over to Bay Street Video. Those two stores are my go-to stores when I travel. If I'm in Toronto, I'm in Bay Street Video. If I'm in London, I'm in Covent Gardens FOP. Those are the two stores that I go to. When I do travel, though, to other places, I will be asking your guys' recommendations on stores like that I should go to. So this is the other one in the Animal trilogy, and this is the Cat O' Nine Tails. This was put out by Arrow Video. It's a great release. Fantastic features on it. Arrow puts out a lot of really, really good stuff. Now, this is a different one as opposed to those. You notice that when it comes to the first one, which is I'll get it out here. I guess I should get the Animal trilogy now, because let's talk about that. There's three of them. There is, and I've got a better copy of this one now, but I just don't have it taken. So, Birth Crystal Plumage. This is the original white case cover for Birth Crystal Plumage. This was the first one. This was the first one that Argento did. This actually made Giallos popular. Great film. And if you haven't checked it out, This edition's still available. I don't. Probably not, actually, sadly. This one does have Tony Masanti and like Susie Kendall. Remember when I said Susie Kendall was like one of the queens of Giallo? Like this is one of the things that actually made that. She did this one and Torso, two of the biggest Giallos that were that came out that popularity wise. Bird of the Crystal Plumage is a fantastic film. It's based on the story, the book Screaming Mimi. If you haven't seen it, really, really, really recommend it. It is the first you saw. So you saw the first Argento first. That's pretty good. I didn't. I think I probably saw like Deep Red first and then went backwards. But pardon your ignorance on which one? Four Flies on Gray Velvet. It's got a bit of a shift. Like with Bird of the Crystal Plumage, it does take a lot from the from films before it. Obviously, like he got his own style. He does a little bit of the creamy stuff by having like the having kind of like the comical character that's in there as well. But it doesn't take away. It's just like kind of like it lightens it a bit when it gets a little bit too dour. This one is a mystery, kind of through and through. You did start with some of his best. Tenebrae is my favorite of all of them. But this is one of the most underrated ones that he did. When it comes to these two here, oh God, no! There's a lot of people aren't familiar with Giallo. That's one of the reasons I'm doing this. So that's a good thing. Cat o' Nine Tails and Four Flies in Grey Velvet. Both of them kind of use almost like what's the word I want to use for it? A sci-fi aspect to the films. Cat o' Nine Tails very much more so. Like the killer, when I originally saw Cat o' Nine Tails, I was kind of disappointed with the film because of the reasoning behind the kill is more scientific than it actually is like kind of a, there's no like reason behind it. Argento, Bava was first. Argento came after Bava. Argento was like a writer and a film critic at the time. And then I guess Fulci, was doing a lot of other stuff, but Fulci would do like that. Now Umberto Lenzi, who I just mentioned before, had actually done the films, like some films early on, before like Argento had done them. See, Argento popularized the genre of the Giallo, but he wasn't the first person to do them. A lot of people like watched the Argento Giallos and said, "Well, I've seen them," but no, there's a lot more to it. That was what this video is about, basically. There's a lot more to Giallo than Argento, and there's a lot more to Fulci than Gore. So I kind of wanted to get into to both of those aspects here. I don't think Argento's ever going to retire. It's taken a while to do another film. But Fulci, unfortunately, has passed away, as Bava. Mario Bava has passed away. Lamberto's still around. That's his son. He also made films as well. I'm probably most famous for Demons and Demons 2, but he also made some Giallo films. That's a good question, Mark, actually. Would Dress to Kill be considered a Giallo or an erotic thriller type of film? I personally would consider Dress to Kill more of an Americanized Giallo than I would consider an erotic thriller. He did die in the 80s. Yeah, he died after, he's shortly after doing like a Fangoria conference, actually. Definitely Giallo. You've got the black glove killer. There's the nudity. There's the killer has like kind of a sexual hang up. That's a portion of it. I'd have to look back. You guys would have to. You guys would be the. Now, Dress to Kill is definitely more of a Giallo than it is an erotic thriller, in my opinion. And the reason I stand by that is because it has all the tropes that we have and we do see when it comes to Giallo. Now, because Dress to Kill, of course, is Brian De Palma. And you guys know I love De Palma. It has we've got the killer with the sexual hang-up. We've got the dual personality. We have the black gloves. We have the women, kind of the girl in peril, the violent death. Erotic thrillers don't have to have all of those things. They can have a killer and they can like check, but or they don't even have to have a killer. They can have somebody that's just obsessed, or someone that kills a rabbit, or someone that like is just obsessed with a person. But a giallo checks certain boxes. Dress to Kill, prominent score, check. Black glove killer, check. Scenes of nudity and titillation, check. Amateur detective, rather than police officer, check. Kind of having to guess the killer, check. Interesting, unique, like ending to it, check. It's definitely an American style giallo. Hope that helps out. Thank you. Yeah, both of these were science fiction-y style ones. This one here, basically, one of the things that's important on this one is that there's a scientific method in this film. I'm not joking here, where they're able to like see the last thing that a person saw on their eyeball, based upon like taking the picture of the very last vision they saw, and the picture is like of a fly. It's it's more of a scientific giallo there. But definitely recommend like Bird Crystal Plumage, Cat o' Nine Tail, Four Flies and Grey Velvet, like the Animal Trilogy, are must-haves for a collection like that. Killing Rabbit. I was making an allusion to the movie, oh God, with the Glenn Close, A Fatal Attraction, where she, the bunny rabbit in the pot. So let's go through some of Argento's stuff right now, because obviously an extremely popular person when it comes to Giallo. This is probably, I don't know what the question marks for Boom Movie Archives, unless I missed something. If I missed something, say it again and I'll respond to it. Or if I said something too fast, or I got my weird accent, like kind of knocks people off sometimes. This is considered the best Giallo ever made for a lot of people. This is considered the definitive, the last word, per se, on the Giallo genre. Some of my friends have said, well, I got Deep Red. I kind of got the best Giallo. Do I really have to dive in any deeper? Yeah, basically, it's exactly, Corey. It's the type you show people to get into Giallo. Unfortunately, some people say, well, I've seen the best. Do I really want to see not the best? It's yes, you do, because although this is by many considered to be the definitive Giallo, and out of the past is often considered to be one of the definitive film noirs, you're not going to stop there on a genre that you love. For me, Levin's Tenebrae is better. Body Double. We'll do the checklist in a minute. For many people, this is their favorite. Like, it has a fantastic score. It has an amazing score for the film. We got a great cast, wonderfully murder set pieces. Murder set pieces is the other thing that I can't believe I didn't mention that. Murders are set up very extravagantly in Giallos. They are often, and this is not, they're often meant to look beautiful. That's not saying anything bad. They are meant to look like gorgeously beautiful. Definitely check out Deep Red, but don't let it be your stopgap. Let it be one of the things you see along the way. There are so many good Giallos to look into. One of the ones that I really want, I don't have this on my birthday list. I should have had it on my birthday list. Is The Psychic by Fulci. It was starring Jennifer Neal, which hands down, Fulci just kills it. Oh, really? I haven't seen Piercings. I'll actually look into that. A few people would consider Suspiria a Giallo because it does have a lot of the tropes. We were slowly seeing Argento going into more fantastical eras. My favorite score is I love this one. It creeps me out. The opening's like the lyrical, like creepy opening song. Definitely, definitely something that sticks with me. But it was Tenebre's soundtrack that I listened to over and over. Out of all the soundtracks that I got in my collection, this one here, Tenebrae actually comes. The steelbook came with the soundtrack for Tenebrae. So I often find myself like listening to this one over and over again. You can't go wrong with an Argento soundtrack. I don't think there's a bad Argento soundtrack out there, but there's certain ones obviously that stand out above the others. And Deep Red and Tenebrae would be ones that would definitely send. Suspiria, considered by Giallo to some. I really haven't got into that one. I'm not sure if I really would consider it Giallo, though it does have a lot of tropes. Definitely has an amazing soundtrack. Cannibal Hollow got signed. Actually, that's neat. But Deep Red definitely one to pick up. Trying to get these in places where I can put them. A couple more Argento ones that I do want to mention, and when you mention Suspiria as a Giallo, you really got to go into this one right here, and that is Phenomenon. Goblin, as Java just mentioned, did a lot of the Argento like soundtracks. Goblin, or sometimes just Claudio Simonetti, would work with Argento on a lot of his films. Hey there, Mark. How's it going? Now, earlier on, Ennio Morricone was much more. I guess he's much more known for he's much more known for his spaghetti western stuff. Did some great Giallo work, and he actually worked early on with Argento. So the early Argento films, the Animals trilogy, that's the Ennio Morricone. Hannibal TV series is almost like a Giallo TV style show, and I really enjoyed it. It's one that may be coming back for a fourth season. I'm fingers crossed on that one. So, Phenomenon, fantastic film. It skirts between the fantastical of the Suspiria Inferno stuff and the Deep Red Tenebrae style. We have the Black Love Killer. What's a good website to find these on? A lot of these here you're going to see are UK releases. So, Mark, I would suggest like diving into Amazon.co.uk first. Also, another great site is if you're in the States, is Diabolic DVD. They do a lot of this stuff as well. And of course, you can always go to Arrow's own site where they do Shameless and Arrow releases. Of course, Arrow releases. Jennifer Connelly, I've always had a crush on since I've been young. I think the first thing I ever saw in was a movie called 7 Minutes to Heaven. 7 Minutes in Heaven. But perfect, John. That is actually a really good way to go into. Some people think if there's supernatural aspects in a Giallo, then it's no longer a Giallo. It can't be considered a Giallo. I much like John, I wholeheartedly disagree with that. A lot of Giallos, and a lot of the classic Giallos, have supernatural or semi-supernatural aspects to them. 88 films, yeah, great. Thanks, Mark. I actually didn't even I should have considered them. Why didn't I? Actually got some Italian stuff over there. I probably got Giallos I didn't think of bringing over, which I will go get in a second. You live in Colorado? Diabolic DVD, 88 films, which Mark just mentioned, Amazon.co.uk. Those are the best ones to go. And yep, we got a good old Sam Loomis here, Don Pleasant himself. Great movie, Monkey. Do you know, Livens, I actually had that argument with somebody. I was like, is Nightmare on Elm Street a slasher? Is it really a slasher? Because it's supernatural. I was wrong, because at the time I said, no, it's not a slasher. It can't be a slasher. Miss Harper, Jessica Harper's on that list. Is on the Google Doc list. But yeah, but Nightmare on Elm Street is definitely a slasher film. I lost that argument. I will admit to this very day, I was wrong. And I was glad to lose the argument because I learned something that day. Something that you don't know at all, right? Love the monkey man. Stendhal Syndrome. This one gets some hate for some reason. I don't know why, because I do love this film. This says Zia Argento. It's a dark film. but it's a really good film. So basically, there's a rapist murder. That that attacks Zia Argento, and she ends up with she has a condition called Steinel syndrome, where basically you experience like art, and like you almost like lose your mind. You experience art in a strange hallucinatory fashion. There's some beautiful sequences in this film, some gorgeous sequences. One involving a painting which is extremely gorgeous. Definitely recommend that. Couple that definitely deserve a mention, and this is Stage Fright by Michele Soavi. And this one, actually, I think this is produced by Joe D'Amato. Actually, yeah, it is actually. So Joe D'Amato had like a production company, and he actually gave like Joe D'Amato, who's known for definitely for like a lot of the sleazier stuff he does. Also worked with a lot of Giallo and stuff like that. He also had a production company for helping other people out. Stage Fright, fantastic film. This is one that skirts the is this a Giallo, is this a slasher, and it falls more along the slasher side of things, but it still has the Giallo, some of the Giallo tropes there as well. I would say this is more slasher than Giallo, but for this one we're going to put it in the Giallo camp. Next up is one that I mentioned earlier, and this is Luigi Bazzoni. Unfortunately, I only got the DVD of this one. I do want to get the Blu-ray once it comes out. Arrow is putting out a really good edition of this one, and this is a fantastic. This is one of the top Giallos out there, in my not so humble opinion, and that is Franco Nero in The Fifth Chord. The Mask on Stage Fright scared the crap out of me. I'm not going to lie to you, it did. It scared the crap out of my better half too. We were in different countries watching it. The Fifth Chord is a fantastic one. Franco Nero, of course, a lot of people know as Django, but he is incredible in this. And you know, we got like a score by Ennio Morricone on here. We got the guy, I think Vittorio, what's his name? Vittorio, I want to get it. Serraro, who of course did the film work for Bird with Crystal Plumage. He was the cinematographer for that. Oh, dude, you got to see Stage Fright. It's awesome. Even if you don't like horror very much, it's a really cool film. But this one right here, guys, I recommend it as Giallo. I recommend it as a film. It's just a really good film. A great cast, a great bunch of people behind the film here. If you've never seen this one, make sure it's on your list of arrows in the near future that you pick up. Show how many different copies I got of this film. Yeah, yet another copy torso. We'll get to that one actually, don't worry. I have not forgot that film. Now let's get into the guy that kind of started it all. Stairs? I wouldn't think so, no. Apocalypse Now, yeah. Actually, Apocalypse Now is not one of my favorite films. I'm not going to lie to you. I can watch it, but I've never got into it as much as some other people. So, very first Giallo ever came out, if you're not going to cover like Sweet Body of Deborah or something like that, but is The Girl Who Knew Too Much. This is the one you kind of start with. This is the Arrow release. It is a great release. There's a ton of features on here. This is John Saxon. My most watched Giallo is Tenebrae. I've watched that one more than I watched any other Giallo that I got in my collection. I would probably say Tenebrae is top. Definitely films like probably Torso, Deep Red, a lot of the Argento stuff really. But nowadays more so like a lot of the Martino stuff, a lot of the other stuff. I'll show you as I go through. I'll go through like a lot of Bab actually. The Girl Who Knew Too Much, also known as the Evil Eye, here in North America. but a completely different, like, cut of the film. This one does have both cuts of the film here, so it does have the Girl Who Knew Too Much cut of the film and the Evil Eye. You can get this from Kino Lorber as well. They put out like both versions of the film. I think they put them out on 2 separate discs, but this one has like both of them together, so I do recommend that one. The one that most people like to talk about when it comes to, I'll get there as well, is Blood and Black Lace. Blood and Black Lace, again, is a fantastic Giallo. This really kind of gets it all underway. So when you think of Giallo, and a lot of people think about it, they think of like the black gloved killer with the hat and the black outfit. Oh, you can't be without Tenebrae. You can't be without Deep Red, and Don't Torture a Duckling. If you not, those 3 right off the bat: Tenebrae, Deep Red, Don't Torture a Duckling, Lizard in a Woman's Skin are 4 you need to have. This one too. Blood and Black Lace. This is the Arrow version of Blood and Black Lace. Again, fantastic. They put it like a steelbook as well, but this is one I got, and I really love the cover. Is your favorite Giallo? Fantastic film. Cameron Mitchell's in this one, a young Cameron Mitchell. Beautiful colors in this one here. Giallo would be known like for its use of the colors and the gamut of colors that they use within the films. Blood and Black Lace would be the template that a lot of other films would pretty much work from. Next up is the very first Giallo that had Edwidge Fenech in it, and a lot of people like think of like the Martino stuff, but no, that wouldn't be the case. It actually would be this one right here. $5 for an August Moon. I'm pretty sure this is the first one with Fenech. Fenech worked with Bava in this one here. This has a great cast though too. We've got like Howard Ross from the New York Ripper in this one here. We have like Ara von Furstenberg, who was in the Fifth Chord in this one. Just amazingly done stuff. And William Berger. Wow. Well, we had an amazing cast. Is this one of the best Giallos? Edwidge Fenech stands out in this for her part in this Giallo, but I wouldn't consider this like the best one. But I consider Deep Red to start. Deep Red is definitely one of the best. But I would say get yourself a couple. Deep Red's a good start, but what you want to do, and I will tell you this right now, is get yourself Deep Red, get yourself Tenebrae, but above all, get yourself this, all the colors of Giallo. Top Sensation, I don't think is a Giallo, John. I just recently watched Top Sensation. It is a great film. It is a dark drama, but I don't think, like in no way would I consider Top Sensation to be like a Giallo film. Giallo started in the 60s, it did. A lot of the early stuff, like you see the Carol Baker films that were done, the stuff like, you know, The Sweet Body Dip, or Umberto Lanza, or Coley, people like that. Bay of Blood definitely is, you know, it's a Giallo film, but it is, I find Bay of Blood kind of more of a template towards what the slasher would be. And Bay of Blood is different because it has a lot of tropes of the Giallo genre, but it still like leads into like almost a darkly comedic aspect. The darkly comedic aspect of Bay of Blood is actually stronger than like the other aspects of it. Bay of Blood is the grandfather of the slasher genre. That's actually that's very true. Hey, Portugal, welcome, Lewis. But yeah, make sure you get that Severin release. Really, seriously, Mark. Bay of Blood, the grandfather of the slashers, definitely has a lot of the Giallo aspects in there as well. So let's get into some that I think that are definitive musts that everybody should have in their collection. I spoke a lot about Martino throughout this video, through the beginning of this video, and strongly because this right here, Like he did Torso, he did Case of Scorpion's Tail. He made a lot, but this one right here is probably my favorite. Actually, I didn't see her comment. Can you put it through again? Is my favorite Martino film. This is my favorite Martino Giallo, and it is different. It goes in some very unusual places. This is the one where you pretty much hear him say, I'm having problems in my marriage. Let's go to a black mass. Yeah, let's go to a black mass. It's a great film. It is unusual and strange. I would watch this one and Lizard and a Woman's Skin together, actually. Those two films, perfect double feature. Perfect Giallo double feature. But as you can see, I'm wearing the shirt for this one right here. Edwidge Finch is an extremely beautiful woman. To this day, she's an extreme. Just looking at interviews of her now, she's held up amazingly well. She's an amazingly beautiful woman, and she was meant to make this these films. We've got Ivan Razumov. Oh, I got the first part. Edwidge Finch is a very fine woman as well. See, that's what I got, and that's when it flipped at me the last time. This thing goes so fast. I wish I could actually like press on a comment and just make it like stick there. Now, I have to ask, do you own this version or this version? Because see, for me, I have to own them both. Like I said before, I will always buy the shameless releases of things as well. Great film. Really, really good. Susan Scott, I can't remember what her actual Italian name is, but she goes under the name Susan Scott in most of her Italian films. This was done like a score by Bruno Nicoli as well, and there's great stuff on here, like features on here as well. There's like actually a short film called Doors, which I haven't watched yet. You can watch them both in the English and Italian versions, but this is a Severin edition. This is the Blu-ray of it that I got. I got it in that pack, and I gotta mix. And this one does come. What's really neat about this one? This one does come with the soundtrack as well of the film. So you get the film and you get the soundtrack too. Oh, I am in portrait mode. I do see the comments. It's just sometimes the kind of, oh, you mean like that? Okay, yeah. No, I know what you mean now. Sorry. Kind of flew over my head for a second. But yes, if you do not have these here, I'm going to say right now, get yourself these two. Severin's been putting out some great stuff recently, and all the colors of Giallo. Definitely one to pick up. Now let's look into a couple other releases that I was asked earlier if I thought pieces. I usually watch them with the subtitles on. If I'm watching them for a second or third time, then I'll use dubbing. Like if I'm like, for instance, I haven't watched them because I'm going to do a review or notes. Then I'll watch it with with the dubbing on, because I may be like writing notes down or like studying different aspects of the film, so I can't read the subtitles. This is what is a Spanish Giallo. Pieces Grinders releasing. This was put out by Arrow Video as well, by the way. Great film. The guy that plays Bluto in Robert Altman's Popeye is in this. Favorite slashers. Now, this one does skirt the slasher Giallo formula as well. I do like the fact that we get the soundtrack for Pieces in here. Great film. I listened to the soundtrack a few times actually. Pretty damn good. Although it has a lot of the aspects of a slasher, I would say Pieces falls more along the lines of the Giallo genre. No, dude, I'm watching Pieces over and over again. If you want to talk one of my most watched Giallos, Pieces. Over and over again, Pieces. This version, I got the Arrow Video version of it as well. So speaking of Arrow, they put out a few box sets that I think are must-haves. So let's get into those. There's the on vinyl. I would like to have that. This is the Death Walks Twice box set. These are two, one by Luciano Ercoli. Both of these I think have Florinda Balkan in it. I'm pretty sure they do. I know they have Dagmar Lassender in it. No, okay. Susan Scott, otherwise known as Neves Navarro. Thank you, Arrow. Because that was drawing me up the wall. So this is the Death Walks Twice box set. On it we have Death Walks in Aisles. And if you want to know exactly how influential this film can be, look at the beginning of my video, and you'll see how influential something like this could be. We got Death Walks in Aisles, Death Walks at Midnight. Great films. Look at the amazing killing device on this film, for this film right here. Isn't that not incredible? Great features on here. Commentaries by Tim Lucas. Introductions by Ernesto Gastaldi. Yeah, but unfortunately, the violent pictures thing is not something that is an issue with. It's a societal thing. Hey, Danuch, welcome, dude, and welcome to the movie club. Next up is the Black Cat set put out by Arrow Video, a film by Lucio Fulci and a film by Sergio Martino. You definitely cannot go wrong with this. This was probably my favorite Sergio Martino film until All the Colors of the Dark. And that is, it's got quite the title. Your Vice is a Locked Room and Only I Have the Key. This is a really good film. If you haven't checked this one out, check it out. Martino does a masterful job with this one. And look at the cast we got here. We got Lucio Pistilli, who of course is in Caliber 9. We have like Edwidge Fenech in this one. Anita Strindberg is in this one. She's a gorgeous lady. Oh, the violent stuff. I think it just goes. It's in an odd way. It speaks on our society that. Oh, you really need to see Vice, Andy. That's a really good one. Oh, Eyeball is definitely Giallo. You're talking about Umberto Lenzi. Yeah. Well, the Black Cat. That's kind of a short title. I think they kind of got known for that, and some of them actually got like renamed. What was kind of comical is the it was Lenzi that made a movie called Orgasmo, right? So Orgasmo was renamed Paranoia over in the well, I think it was originally called Paranoia. Studio renamed it Orgasmo to make it more sleazy sounding. Then when it went over to North America, they said, well, Paranoia is a really great name. Let's use that. They used Paranoia. So the next movie that he made was called Paranoia, and it had to have another name over when it was brought over to North America, because he couldn't have his same director, his next film, also be called Paranoia. Little story there. Yeah. But Black Cat, Lucio Fulci, your great little film. But the clear winner in this one is Your Vice is a Locked Room and Only I Have the Key. Check this one out sooner rather than later. Another director that did some great Paranoia 2, Paranoia, right? I actually like that. This is a really colorful box set. I really enjoy this one. This is Killer Dames. This is really good. So Emilio, what's his name again? Maraglia? I'm not great when it comes to pronunciation. Not gonna lie there, guys. And again, like these box sets always have these amazing, like, huge, like, booklets to them. We got The Red Queen Kills 7 Times, which is a fantastic one. I think this is Barbara Boucher in this one. Yeah, it's Barbara Boucher. There's like an early appearance from Sybil Danning, which almost doesn't look like Sybil Danning in this one. like as the Subadang as we come to know her later on. Still amazingly gorgeous. You do need this one, Corey. This is a really good one. The Red Queen kills 7 times. Barbara Boucher is gorgeous, and those eyes, man, those eyes are amazing. This is a great film, and what makes it such a great double feature is it also has the incredible, and I do mean in like really, really incredible, the night Evelyn came out of the grave. I love this one too. This is a great double feature. They're very different films by the same director. Both Giallos both do such a good job with what they do. Well, these aren't sequels. These are different films. They're really have nothing to do with each other except for the director. Erica Blanc is in the night Evelyn came out of the grave. There's actually a few. We got like Marina Mafati is in this one as well. Giacomo Rossi Stewart is in this. And again, like another score by the great Bruno Nicolai, who we always hear about, like Goblin, and we hear a lot of the other ones, but we don't hear a lot about Bruno Nicolai, which is a shame because he does do some really, really great stuff. Camera Obscura, I have heard of them, Elementary, but I don't have any of their stuff. I have seen that they do have a lot of really good stuff. It tends to be a bit more expensive, and the only place that I've seen them at is through Diabolic DVD. This reminds me of something. Hold with me for a second. I just had an idea. Can't believe I didn't think of this. Okay. Before I mention that, there is one other film by Beto. Antonio Beto made 2 Giallo films. And The Bloodstained Shadow definitely is a fabulous Giallo film. Highly underrated, highly overlooked. Beto's work by far is overlooked in the Giallo genre, and it shouldn't be. He does some great stuff. Now, if, for instance, you're wondering exactly where you fit, where in the Giallo, like what is it you like exactly, I don't normally recommend this as a way to start. But if, for instance, you wanted to see versions of some of these films before you went out and bought the $30 edition, or I always recommend going with this to start. But there was some Giallo films put out on the Pop Flicks label, so the Popcorn Flicks label, Pop Flicks label, and I don't think they're uncut though. So know that going in. I don't know if I really watched a lot of these, but I grabbed them when they came out because I heard that they were going to be like taken off. So we got on this one right here, the Red Queen kills 7 times, the 5th chord, 7 notes in black, otherwise known as the psychic Lucio Fulci, and Don't Torture a Duckling. Done on as a 2-disc set. All 4 of these are done in widescreen. I am not, however, sure how cut or uncut each versions of these are, but if you wanted to see a version of these films for like $5, this is something to look into. They also did another set, which is The Case of the Bloody Iris, which is a fantastic film. Your Voice is Locked Room and Only I Have the Key, Death Laid an Egg, and what's that called again? The Dark is Death's Friend. And again, like this Dark is Death's Friend was by Lucio Cosi. I don't have that one. Death Laid an Egg is Guido Questi. So there's another one. And he put out a 3rd set. And this one I know is probably cut up. And there's some more of Argento stuff. So we got like Deep Red, Cat o' Nine Tails. We also got 7 Bloodstained Orchids, and Short Night Glass Dolls. The Short Night Glass Dolls is an incredible film. So this is a these are like widescreen, pretty kind of low. 88 Films did Kate's the Bloody Hours. That's one I got to get, Mark. I really want that one. So this is a cheap, inexpensive way to dip your toes into the Giallo genre. Now that being said, really do please know that a lot of these films here, especially their North American early budgeted releases, are cut, and sometimes cut to a pretty high extent. So it's great to have these as just fun little things or backups and stuff like that. But I do recommend, if you're gonna start, get yourself that The Killer Must Kill Again. It's a fantastic release. Thank you, John. There's a lot here that I don't have, and there's some that I just didn't get out or get into today. Now, if this video does well, if you guys like this, one, there will be more of these. There will be more guide tos. We'll be doing guide to the slasher genre. We'll be doing guide to collecting Lucio Fulci. We'll be doing guides to Argento, guides to Jess Franco, that type of thing. So those are things to look forward to in my channel in the future, if that's something that you like, which I hope you do. If you do, and you really like my channel, one thing that I do recommend that you do, which I would love, thanks everybody, tweet it. Much like my good friend Brian has done on my tweet it and tag the companies that I mentioned. But Giallo is overall, I have to say, one of my favorite genres. It's exciting. Oh, thank you, Scholar. You're really good with that. It really makes me, it inspires me. The Giallo genre has always been something that's been that I found inspiring. So again, guys, I want to thank you so much for joining me here in the movie library today. I've got a couple of things that I need to do. I am Aaron. You are the Movie Club. You guys are extremely awesome. And I'm feeling extremely inspired, so I'll see you guys soon. Next time in the Movie Club. You guys rock.